Mike Huckabee is also mentioned as a presidential contender. He sat down with the ladies of The View yesterday. Take a look.
Could you beat Barack Obama?
Well, you know, I wouldn't run if I didn't think I could. I think it's going to be harder to beat Barack Obama than a lot of Republicans are thinking, because he is the president. He's going to have $1 billion starting out on his war chest. There is an extraordinary advantage of an incumbent. And I'll tell you something else people don't think about. A divided government is good for the executive branch.
Divided government, the new reality in Washington. We're joined now by James Sasseen from Yahoo News, and divided government is actually something that we jump into in the ABC News Yahoo News poll. We ask about gridlock, and this is a great number. So usually we think of gridlock as a bad thing, but actually there's gridlock on the question of whether gridlock is a good thing or a bad thing. Democrats pretty much think it's a bad thing. They're saying by an overwhelming margin, 67 to 22. Independents also think it's a bad thing, but Republicans slight edge for it being a good thing. That's incredible.
They're incredibly split on the question. 43% I think that it's a good thing, and the reason is because they see gridlock as stopping bad policies that they don't like.
Right.
They see it as stopping the president. They see it as stopping the Democratic Congress. They think it helps them.
Well, what about what people expect? I mean, one of the interesting things in this Yahoo poll is the question of people asked, how likely is gridlock to occur in the new Congress? So this is a pretty lopsided result here,
Yeah,
Rick.
absolutely.
Likely 81%, not likely 14%. I guess, Jane, my question is, who are the 14% who think that gridlock is not likely?
Exactly. That was what we wanted to say. They're going to be very disappointed because, you know, if you just look back at what's already happened in the 3 weeks since the election, we're already seeing the beginnings of it with the Republicans not going along with wanting to vote for the nuclear arms treaty with Russia, the difficulty they've had coming up with a date to sit down with the president. You know, if the president invites you over and you want to sit down with him, you can find a date. They haven't, you know, so it's clearly they don't want to do anything at this point, and there's a lot of pressure within the party, you know, from the more conservative ranks, the Tea Party activists, not to do anything that will help Obama, that will look like compromise. And so, you know, they have every motivation in the world to continue to do, you know, what they see as the positive thing of gridlock. The problem is much of the rest of the country, including the independents who are critical, don't think that's a good idea.
Right, but so much of the voters do seem to be saying exactly what Mike Huckabee was talking about, that split, the idea of split control in Washington. Another question that caught my eye, we asked, will the election results move our country in the right direction? And some optimism, 34-21, although a big chunk that say they don't think it'll make a difference. But fascinating here, if you look into the numbers, the age gap.
Yeah.
The older you are, the more optimistic you are. The younger you are, the less optimistic you are. What's behind that?
Well, I think, for one, older voters tend to be more conservative, tend to be more Republican. So again, they think the country is moving in the right direction. There's also a link. If you think the country is moving in the right direction, you tend to be the voters who like gridlock. So it's that core group is signaling they like what's going on, and they like the fact that things are going to slow down and pull back from what they don't like has happened in the last couple of years. Younger voters, as we all know, were much bigger Obama supporters. Right. So, you know, they're much less certain that this outcome is going to get what they would like to see.
So the starry-eyed idealists are actually our grandparents. It's not the kids today. It's not the kids who are idealists. It's the people that have been through it all already.
One would think, you know, 50, 60 years of experience would teach them otherwise, but, you know, they like, again, it's a sort of a negative thing in that they like that there's going to be a pullback from what's happened, right, and a slowing down of the things that they didn't like.
Although I have to say, 34% saying that this is moving us in the right direction is still really low.
Low number.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's got to be a warning to Republicans. Again, another indication that people weren't necessarily voting in favor of Republicans. They were rejecting the party in power.
Exactly, because in fact, if you look into that number as well, too, the independents are much less happy with, you know, the direction it's going. Right. So, you know, they got to hold on to them.
James Sasseen, Yahoo News, thanks for being here. Twitter.com/Rick Klein, Twitter.com/John Carl. John, no predictions. Very disappointing for you. Won't man up.